With the holiday season here, I want to show you my favorite 10 Christmas ornaments that you can make pretty easily using dollar store pieces. Number 1 through 3 are my clear bowl bulbs. And these 3 are pretty quick and easy to make, so I'm doing them all together. All you need is some diamond wrap, a few different Christmas bells for toppers, and small clear decorative bowls from Dollar Tree. For the first one, I start by hot gluing 2 decorative bowls together. Then I cut 1 long strip of diamond wrap and glue that around the seams and around some of the lines on the piece. In this one, I'm going to top with a clear and silver bow. And just that quick, I have a beautiful little ornament that looks like a present. Now the second one, I'm going to start off the same way, but I'm going to do a slightly different design with the diamond wrap. And for this one, I'm going to put Christmas bells at the top. And I cut pieces of 4 diamonds and I put those around the center pieces. For the third one, I started off the same, but I have a double row of diamonds. And for the top, I'm going to use 1 silver bell and add a ribbon. Now those are my favorite 3 designs for this method, but of course you could come up with all different combinations. Number 4, crystal bell ornaments. To make these, I'm using crystal cut acrylic champagne glasses, diamond wrap ribbon, clear acrylic gems, acrylic silver picks, and sheer silver ribbon. So I want to make something that looks like a long crystal bell. So with this acrylic cut glass, I'm going to use this silver pick and these round acrylic gems. I'm going to hot glue 1 gem at the end of the pick on one side and another one on the other side so that I have something that looks like this. So I'm going to put a little hot glue right at the end of the pick, and I'm going to place that pick right in the inside, right in the center of the glass, and hold it there for at least 20 seconds until the glue solidifies. I love the way these look, so I usually put a lot of these on the tree and on the mantle, so I'm going to make a bunch of these at one time. Next, I'm going to tie a nice big bow with this silver sheer ribbon and hot glue that right at the top. And to make it more sparkly, I'm adding diamond wrap around the sides. And here is my beautiful crystal bell. I made quite a few in a couple of different glass sizes and shapes. Number 5, sparkly antique gold bulbs. For this piece, I'm using different size clear bulb ornaments, large and small silver glitter and gold dust, clear acrylic gems, diamond wrap ribbon, and Mod Podge. I'm starting with a good sized bowl and I'm mixing together silver and gold dust glitter, and I'm going to add in some large pieces of silver glitter. Now I want to add some decorative pieces to the bottom of these bulbs. So I'm using these clear gems, and with the hot glue I'm going to stack 2 of them. For the smaller bulbs, I only put 1 crystal at the bottom, but I'm going to put these upside down and let them dry. After the pieces are dry, I'm brushing the bulbs with Mod Podge, and I'm going to get a thick coat all the way around and just sprinkle the bulb with my glitter mixture and go all the way around till it's completely covered, and just shake the excess off. And I'll do the same to all the other pieces and let those dry. And you get this really beautiful sparkly antique gold look. I love the way the small and large pieces blend together. And to finish this off, I'm going to cut a piece of diamond wrap to go around the cap. I'm using 3 rows for the large bulbs and 2 rows for the smaller bulbs. Beautiful and sparkly. Number 6, crystal snowflakes. For this one, I'm using tiny silver plastic forks, clear acrylic gems, and acrylic diamond gemstones. Okay, I'm going to start by cutting the heads off of these tiny forks. And with the hot glue, I'm gluing acrylic crystals on each end of 4 pieces. Now for the 5th piece that I have in the middle, I'm gluing the acrylic on one end. Now I want to create something that looks like a snowflake. So I'm going to position these crisscross and glue those pieces down. Also for this, I like to use Gorilla Hot Glue sticks. It's a stronger glue stick and it'll help these pieces stay together better since they're so delicate. I'll cut the last piece in half and put those on each side of the bottom. And for the very top, I'm using a large diamond gemstone. In the center, I think I'll add a smaller diamond gemstone. And just to add some dimension, I'm going to put some crystals all around the center of this piece. Now that is looking like a beautiful crystal snowflake. Now I'm going to put another large diamond gem on the back. And now I can actually slip a ribbon through here and tie a pretty little bow to finish this off. And the great thing about this is that you can come up with your own combinations and have lots of unique little snowflakes for your tree. Number 7, Peacock Butterfly Ornament. This one is pretty simple. I'm using a decorative butterfly I found at Dollar Tree, clear bulb ornaments. I'm also using blue stained glass spray paint to spray the bulbs. One year I had a peacock blue and green theme for Christmas, and these turned out really great and was pretty easy to make. The dollar store always has a lot of different picks that you can use to create any type of theme. And since this butterfly has peacock feathers, this is perfect for my particular theme. So I'm simply going to hot glue the wings down around the piece. But first I'm going to take this clip off the back and use the hot glue on the center and in the corner of the wings to mold the butterfly around the bulb. And just that quick, I have some beautiful ornaments to match my peacock theme. Now another method you can use to create a themed ornament is number 8, painted bulbs. For this one, I'm starting with blue and green bulbs. I'm using my metallic acrylic paint and a few small round gemstones. So these bulbs are for the same peacock theme that I had, so I'm going to paint these to look like the center of a peacock feather. So I squirted out a little of my metallic acrylic paint. I'm using blue, yellow, and bronze. I'm now mixing blue and yellow to make a green. And I'm starting by making little circles on the center of each of the bulbs. On the green bulbs, I'm painting blue circles, and on the blue bulbs, I'm painting green circles. And these don't have to be perfect because nature is not perfect. So I did put a circle on each side of the piece, and I'm going to stick this down on the table. I put a piece of tape at the bottom just so it won't roll over. And I'm going to let those dry for a second. So I want these to look like the eye of a peacock feather. So next what I'm going to do is take bronze and just make a little swirl up on each side of the circle, almost like a teardrop, and paint that in around it. And next I'm going to space a couple of swirls on each side, almost like wings. I'll do about 4 of these. And alternating in between those spaces, I'm adding blue and green swirls. And I'm doing that on both sides, and the lines come down to a point to make it look like a peacock's feather. And now right in the center at the bottom of that circle, I'm going to add a half black circle to give it the look of the eye of the peacock feather. Now since I already have the black on my brush, I'm going to go around the edges of each color with black to add more dimension. And then I'm going to go back over that with some gold and bronze and some of the colors to give it even more dimension. And it'll just make the piece pop with layers of colors, and it'll make it look a little more 3D like a real feather. Now, of course, I like to make everything sparkle, so I'm going to add some gemstones to this piece. One right in the center and a row right around the cap. And that's how you can make a pretty simple theme painted bulb. Number 9, paper strip ornament. To make this, you're going to need a decorative paper. I'm using a silver metallic 12 by 12 inch sheet, pretty ribbon, pearl and silver beads, and silver wire. So I'm going to begin by cutting this sheet in strips. The sheet is about 12 by 12, and I'm going to cut about a 1 inch strip off the end of it, and I'll show you why in a second. I'm just going to set that piece aside, and then I'm going to line the ruler up with the edge of the design on each row. And I'm cutting those rows as strips, and they'll be about a ½ inch each. And that'll give you a group of strips, about 10 or so to work with. And go back to the first piece I cut, that was 1 inch. With this piece, I'm going to fold it almost in half horizontally and leave just a lip at the end, about 1/4 inch. Then I'm going to fold that lip over onto the other half. And I'm going to open that lip up and use that to put hot glue on that edge so I can glue this piece closed. After the glue dries, starting at the top, I'm going to squeeze the middle so that it opens and turns into something that looks like a straw. I'm going to be using about 8 of these strips, and just so that I know the center, I'll be folding these in half. So I'm going to take a group of them, maybe about 3 or 4 at a time, and make sure they're lined up and fold them in half. Now at that center point on the fold, I'm using a hole puncher to punch a hole in each of them. Next, I'm going to take my first 2 pieces and crisscross them, make a cross shape. I'm putting a couple of dots around the circle of the bottom piece and gluing those pieces together. Then we'll continue to do the same, crisscrossing and gluing the remaining 6 pieces. I'm going to take the first 2 inside pieces, bring them together. I overlap the 2 pieces about a ½ inch, and I'm going to use my hole punch to punch a hole right at the top in the middle of those 2 pieces. Now that straw piece that I made, I wanted to fit right underneath that circle, that first circle. So I'm going to take the straw and line it up with the circle in the center, and I'm going to cut the straw right just below that circle loop. I'm putting a little hot glue around the edges of the bottom part of the straw, and I'm gluing that and holding that right over the bottom circle. Now I'm putting glue at the top edge of the straw. Now I can glue my 2 strips over the top of the straw so that I can put a wire through this sphere when it's done. And it'll help prevent it from squashing or collapsing on itself. So now I'm going to move the next strips that are up from the bottom and make a circle with those. I'm also punching a hole in this, but I'm not overlapping it as much because I'm losing a little space. So I'm going to punch the hole right at the very edge of each of these ends, something like this. And then I'll glue those again over the top of that circle. Now for the rest of the tabs, I'm just going to put a half of hole at the very end. So it'll be open and look like this. And that should allow me to adjust each one accordingly over the opening of the hole. So now I have a very pretty ball made out of paper. Now I have a few strips left, so if you like, you could weave a strip in between, maybe in the center here. What is also nice about this is it's made like a bead, so I can string a wire through it. I'm going to string the wire through the bottom all the way out through the top. I'm going to pull it through so there's about 3 inches at the bottom and mostly wire at the top. I'm going to use a crystal bead and then a pearl bead and maybe another crystal bead or silver bead. I did put a loose knot at the bottom of the sphere to keep the wire in place, but you don't have to do that. And I'm going to just string those through and push them all the way up to the bottom of the ball. Then I'm going to take my little pliers and squeeze it right at the bottom of the wire and make a little loop. And then I'm going to twist the wire around the bottom part of that loop. And this will finish the end piece off and keep the pieces in place. Then you want to cut the wire really close and squeeze it together. So at the top, before I add some beads, I'm going to add ribbon. And I think I'm going to use this sheer ribbon and some silver ribbon. And I cut some nice long pieces so that I can make a nice big bow. And I'm actually rolling the wire around the ribbon just to keep it in place. And I'm going to put a couple of beads at the top also. But unlike at the bottom, I'm going to make a large loop at the top here, large enough to put a hook through so that I could hang it from the tree. Then I'm twisting the excess wire around the bottom of the loop. Okay, so now I'm just going to tie a double bow at the top. Very pretty, but I think I might take this strip off in the center. Yes, I think I like that much better. And finally, number 10 is another one of my favorite paper ornaments. I call this one Petal Paper Ball. For this one, I'm using a very pretty embossed paper that looks like white roses. I'm also using pretty ribbon, pearl, silver, and crystal beads, and silver wire. Now from the last ornament, I still have about 6 strips and a pretty long piece of straw. So I'm going to use these leftover pieces to make a sphere for my next ornament. So exactly the same way I did the last one, I made a ball, but I equally spaced the 6 pieces around. And I put the white side up just because the textured paper is more of a white color. But you really won't be able to see it because this will serve as a skeleton for my next ornament because I'm going to completely cover it with that textured paper. So I folded my textured paper in quarters, and what I'm going to do is draw some shapes around, pretty much around these shapes. I'm going to make some small, medium, and large roses. I'm going to cut these out and they'll be used pretty much as petals that I'm going to use to cover the entire sphere. And I cut pieces out of every inch of this paper to get my different size shapes. So I'm starting from the top with the smallest petals and I'm gluing them around the top sphere. And I'm tucking in petals underneath that first layer. I'm also pinching the corners just to give it a 3-dimensional petal look as I glue it in. And I use larger petals as I go down. And I'm continuing this until I get down towards the center of the sphere. And after doing half of this, I'm going to turn this upside down and do the same thing starting from the other side. The larger pieces on the side will lay pretty flat, but I love the way the top looks and I want that look to show up on the sides also. So I'm going to use the rest of the pieces I have left over and mimic what I have at the top and the bottom so that the smaller pieces start to swirl out into larger pieces. Okay, so I had just enough to do all 6 sides of this piece. And that is really pretty. It's like a big paper flower ball. And now I can add some beads and ribbon, and now this ornament is complete. I think I love this one the best. Well, I hope that gave you some great ideas for creating your own ornaments this year, and I will see you in the next video. Hey guys, I just added new items to my Etsy store with free shipping. And if you need more detailed instructions on some of these projects, for just a few dollars, you can get instant digital downloads of full color step-by-step instructions with templates for some of your favorite projects. And check out my Amazon page where you can pick up my multi-surface acrylic metallic paint, back in stock with 8 beautiful shimmering colors. You can mix millions of colors and create endless home beauty for indoor and outdoor projects. And while you're there, pick up my Book of Elegant Home Crafts Volume 1 with all your favorite projects together in one big beautiful colored step-by-step instruction book. On my Amazon page, you'll see all my favorite crafting tools and supplies used on this show, and you can add them all to your cart for the one-click fast and easy shopping and delivery convenience of Amazon. I'll be working every day to make crafting fun and easy for you. Follow me at Your House of Home and Your House of Home TV on all social media for extra home food